Voyage.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
My name is Linda Keene. Some might call me a psychic, but I prefer intuitive. In 1987, after I had a series of dreams about John Lennon, I wanted to find out why. Using self-guided meditation, I met him in a meadow. Not one on earth, of course, but in a spiritual plane I call the infinite dwelling. I was surprised to find my mentor with John waiting for me. They called me there to ask something of me.
I know everyone is going to want to hear about John Lennon, but it seems we can't adequately tell the story without first knowing more about your mentor.
I was living in Amsterdam when I met my first Dutch husband via my work as a healer and intuitive. Months later, we met by chance at a gathering hosted by a famous British intuitive and healer named Ronald Beasley, the director and head of the famed White Lodge School and Healing Center in southern England.
I thought his name was Basil.
Well, yes, I'll get to that. So this event was held at the Hotel Krasnopolski in the center of Amsterdam on what would turn out to be a very fateful evening for me. Mr. Beasley was speaking to one of hundreds of enthusiastic guests. And afterwards, one of my clients literally started pushing me over towards Mr. Beasley. He had a lot of people surrounding him, so I thought, well, I can't even talk to him, but he stuck his hand out behind him as if he was already waiting for me, and so I took his hand. Within several minutes, Mr. Beasley was looking at me as if I was an old friend. I told him about a particularly difficult healing I had been working on recently and wondered if he could help me out. A 15-year-old boy had been in a scooter accident, and he was now in a coma. His father had come to me and had been desperate to know if I could be of any help. Soon this man was sitting at my practice, and in meditation, I was asking Basil's spiritual presence to help heal the boy via his father. Unlike anything I'd ever felt before, a remarkable energy came up via the floor and threw me in my arms and into the shoulders of the sitting father I was standing behind. This energy was going into and through the father's shoulders I was holding on to. I could see how this invisible force was passing through his outstretched arms towards an imaginary image of his son, whom we both knew would be the spiritual recipient of this healing force. I'd never experienced anything like it, nor had the father. About a week and a half later, I heard from the father that his son had awakened from his coma, speaking English, which was not his native tongue. Mr. Beasley had truly come through for all of us.
You still haven't explained the Basil part.
Right, so I fell out of touch with Mr. Beasley for about 6 years, and during that time, he had passed away, sadly. But he later appeared to me as my healing guide to help me at my own school teaching.
Appeared to you how?
Well, I knew it was him in a kind of dreamlike form, but he was very familiar. He looked and felt the same. So the spirit guide similar to the Ronald Beasley I knew, but he wasn't exactly the same. It felt strange to call him Beasley, so I gave him a nickname. And this is how Basil was born.
So now that we know who Basil is and who he is to you, what's so important about him in terms of the story?
He really helped me to overcome my fear and self-doubt so much, because I believed in my dreams enough to channel John, but I was so full of doubt about the whole thing, the whole attempt to speak with John and see him. So when I first arrived, Basil assured me That was exactly why he and John had picked me.
Hello? Hi, John, Basil, I'm back. How have you both been?
Terribly busy. Yes, had a lot to do this past week. Lots of people to help, places to go.
Basil is wearing a forest green cotton suit with a white shirt. A dark green handkerchief is pointing neatly out of his breast pocket, and his silvery hair is combed immaculately to the side.
Oh, I've been just dandy.
This time John looks different. He's wearing a white t-shirt with a big tree printed on the front of it, a pair of cut-off jeans, and white tennis shoes. His hair is shorter and his sideburns are missing. He has sunglasses on, though, as usual, for it's bright here as last time. Looking around, everything seems exactly the same, or maybe even more beautiful.
It changed things for me, Linda, to meet with you like we did. Good to see you back. And I appreciate how you kept in touch. You've done a whole lot of thinking and dreaming since then.
I sit and stare for a moment. It's something to see him looking so different, and I've got to get used to him all over again. I've got to get used to myself, too. I'm wearing blue tennis shoes and a blue cotton jumpsuit with short sleeves. On the left breast pocket, there's embroidered a tiny tree. I do sort of recall one dream, but it was so vague. It had to do with being more open to you. I know I need to keep on trusting and approaching this whole business with an open heart.
We'll try to help you with that.
Your insight is great, but your ability to trust us has to stay strong.
But I do trust you guys.
I don't mean you have to trust us. I mean you need to keep having faith with the project. As soon as you stop believing in yourself or in how real this is, the whole project starts to go off. And we don't want that to happen, do we?
I'll certainly do my best.
Dear Linda, it looks as if you and John could afford to get to know each other a little better. Up to now you have related to me much easier than John, and have grown to have faith in me, but I dare say the two of you seem to be getting along just fine already. Actually, I should be speaking of the entity which we are calling John Lennon at this moment. Of course, you realize he is not only that person anymore. He is much more.
Damn right.
Yet it is the easiest way to think of him right now, to focus on one aspect of his being, which is the personality called John Lennon. From here, you may be able to focus more and more upon other levels of his total being, which have infinitely more to say to you than just one man. You could say the personality called John Lennon is your home base.
See if you can make it a third.
As you explore this path of communication, you will leave the groundwork of the personality and travel to other levels of awareness and knowledge which are, as you might have gathered, very developed and large in scope.
No wonder I've been scared about all of this.
I don't mean it has to be overwhelming and filled with effort. To the contrary, it takes a specific kind of quietness and receptivity on your part to be able to comprehend the scope of any entity, your own included.
Yes, but it's difficult for me to get away from those typical considerations about why I should take this job on. Why shouldn't someone else do it? It might seem like a classic modesty game I'm playing, but I need to hear more about it. I need to become more clear about why I should be doing this in the first place.
To begin with, you received the dream message and responded with interest. Secondly, you are coming as an old friend. We are all old friends, as I have already told you. And thirdly, as John has aptly expressed, you know how to listen. Real listening is an art and has to be learned by most people.
And fourthly, she knows how to write.
Thank you. I had forgotten that one. If you are meant to serve as an instrument of communication, it will occur without any worry or effort. And if there is worry or effort, that's a sign that your own ego, however helpful it may be to learn and accomplish specific things, is getting in the way. An ego can often be conceited. It wants everything explained rationally. It wants to grasp the whys and hows. Believe me, dear, you are capable of bringing this material through because you believe in and know us. You can even love us. And there are few people in the world who can hear what we have to say. Don't you see how tragic this is for all concerned? Do you know how painful it can be when we are not heard? It means a great deal to us that you take us as seriously as you do.
Right on. You know, Linda, when people don't appreciate that there's spirit to communicate with, it gets pretty sad. In this wonderful place we like to call our infinite dwelling. A great majority of us are learning just as much from you human folks as you're learning from us. So you might compare our situation to being accustomed to living with your family or other people close to you, and from one day to the next, having these people start to ignore you completely, all of the time, or they are afraid of you, even though you're perfectly willing and wanting to communicate.
That's a good way of putting it, son. And, Linda, when you do this work for us, you need to leave part of your personality on the sidelines. Empty yourself. Don't analyze. Make sure your physical body is comfortable and make its connection with the ground. Relax your shoulders and your neck. Don't be afraid to speak, and to let us speak through you. You are still frightened sometimes that it will turn out to be nothing. Yet I must remind you, there have been so many throughout the ages and cultures who have done this sort of thing. It is nothing new. Indeed, it is very old. It takes openness and conviction, which you certainly possess. Go ahead and do it, child.
Thanks for your trust. You know I'm willing to try everything you suggest, but I still feel great resistance sometimes.
The resistance is natural and healthy. Look at the conditioning you've had during your lifetime.
Just stick him in the loony bin, folks. They's done gone off the deep end, talking to ghosts and spooky spirits. Ooh.
John does have a point, though, and it's about human fear. Fear of the dark side of life. Isn't it logical for most human beings to think that once you begin to communicate with spirits, you can't be sure of who you'll get?
I assume you are now referring to dark forces, what many would call the devil and his advocates.
Precisely.
By the way, John, last week I looked up our last names in a book. Did you realize Lennon is derived from the Irish name Olinen and means cloak, and Keen comes from O'Cathane, which means ancient and beautiful?
Beautiful ancient cloak, eh? That makes a good watchword when we find ourselves braving the adventures of the unknown. When shall we leave on our journey?
What journey?
This may be a great place, Linda, but we won't be staying here forever.
I'm just getting used to being here. And it's about time I asked you more specifically why we are becoming involved with each other. I mean, what is your real intention in creating this story? What is John Lennon in Heaven actually going to be about?
Hey, it's good you finally asked me that. Do you remember what it's like in heaven, Linda? Everybody's been here. They just can't recall what it's like. I want to help them to do this. Actually, heaven and hell are just a state of mind.
I was wondering about that. I wanted to remind you of your song.
Ah, that one. Literally, there's no such thing as heaven or hell. They're cute ways of saying we live after we die. There are other dimensions where the soul resides, which are places we construct ourselves, depending on the kind of reality we believe in. And with this in mind, I'd fancy showing you what some of the possibilities are in this delightful place of non-physical existence.
Which makes me wonder, John, is now that I've met you face to face, it continues to look so much like Earth here. Most people think of heaven as being abstract, or at least filled with clouds and angels and things.
Each to his own. There are a lot of things going on here which might surprise the hell out of people.
Do you mean that literally?
You could take it literally, yeah. But we're talking about creativity here, Linda, on both sides of life. We're talking about matter and spirit serving each other like infinite mirrors. As above, so below. This or that consciousness is being conveyed from being to being, from thing to thing. From one form of life to another. It's all one big act of creation, and we're part of it, whether we're alive in a body or alive in spirit. You can't escape the involvement.
Are you saying life where you are now is similar to life on Earth?
There are big similarities and big differences, which you'll hear about soon enough. But what you're doing with me here is opening up to a certain kind of inspiration, as Basil was mentioning to you earlier, which allows for the free flow of consciousness on both sides, back and forth between physical and non-physical existence.
Well put, my boy.
It makes it hard to know what's real and what's not. It's so easy to think of what we're doing now as all my own fabrication. I mean, aren't all writers doing basically the same as I am by using their imaginations freely?
Aha! You've just asked another important question. Artists have always been responsible for bridging the gap between the two worlds. They just didn't always know they were doing it. And if you combine spiritual perception with true ingenuity, you get a special kind of thing going on.
Which is?
Both worlds converse. There's a natural conveyance of consciousness from one side to the other. Most human beings don't remember this yet, though, or are afraid of it. That's why it can be a pathetic story for those of us here when we need the rapport and aren't getting it. It's sort of like having only half the band show up.
This whole subject baffles me. It's so big, and there seem to be no guidelines except to follow your own inner intelligence.
That is the only guideline. But don't forget that artists and healers of all kinds are and always have been the messengers in your world. It's remarkable they have such exceptional access to their imaginations, their source of spiritual vision and inspiration.
And the source of all change. The collective awareness on Earth is making it possible for all kinds of folks to use their original intuition again, to experience the two-way path between matter and spirit. Human imagination is the key. I suppose other people call it other things. I like to call it consciousness conveyance.
That's what we're doing, isn't it?
You're oh so very right. I want to experiment with this new but very old concept. Do you want to be my first apprentice?
How?
Well, you're off to a good start. But basically, you need to allow yourself more space to create with me. Remember, I said you needed to keep on believing, not just in me, but in the project.
I remember.
Well, this is how you'll be able to learn something from me, just as I am learning from you.
What could you possibly learn from me?
Don't be so damned humble, girl.
Well, anyway, the answer is yes.
Yes. What?
I'll be your apprentice.
What did your husband think of all this?
Ari tried to convince me I should delve deeper into this John Lennon experience that I'd been having in these dreams. Because both he and I are intuitive and healers. We taught about this stuff, and I admit, though, that I was really still reluctant.
Well, taking your story at face value, wouldn't anybody who had come as far as you did jump at the chance to be John Lennon's spiritual apprentice?
No. What did I know about John Lennon, besides the songs that I knew and loved? A few facts about him and these few dreams. But Ari trusted in my capacities fortunately, and he saw me, he saw what was going on and believed I should do it, and so I did.
Would it have been better if John had chosen a Beatles superfan?
Well, there was a very good reason that he chose me, because it had nothing to do with knowledge of his music career.
And that is what we'll discuss in our next episode.
The plane that we ride to the sky.
John Lennon in Heaven is a production of Voyage Media. The series is produced by Nat Mundel, Robert Mitas, Dan Benamor, and Adam Prince. Written and directed by Adam Prince, based on the novel John Lennon in Heaven by Linda Keane. The novel is available on Amazon. A link is in the show notes. Starring Steve Corona as John and Laura Jane Salvato as Linda. Additional cast credits are available in the show notes. Edited, sound design, and mixed by Andres Coca. Original music by Derlis Gonzalez and Beyond Abbey. If you're enjoying the show, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you're listening, and subscribe now for future episodes.